the daughter of a motorcycle club member.
What is your name?
My name is Beth Andrade.
What town do you grow up in?
I grew up in Santa Cruz, California. I'm 21.
On that one.
I can drink and smoke legally. Did it since I was 17 though.
Anyway, what high school did you go to?
Went to Harbor High.
Where do you go to college?
I go to CSUMB, California State University, Monterey Bay.
The Baby Seal Rapers.
No, absolutely not.
Sea otters rape baby seals
No,
to death.
they don't.
Yes, they do.
I don't. I don't. Not my otter.
They otter not do that.
They otter not. The fuck?
What do you think about your brother? First flash about your brother.
The first word I wanted to say is not appropriate for YouTube. um, Student athlete. He's a very good student athlete. He likes to make a lot of money and then spend it on stupid shit. Um, he's my baby brother, so obviously I love and care about him very deeply. I'm very protective of him. And I work at the same place as him, and if anybody is rude to him, I automatically have a grudge against them for the rest of the time that I work there. No regrets.
If someone asked you about your dad, what would you say?
My dad's a cool dude. He's president of a motorcycle club. I always brag about that. Um, I always talk about how much he's into cars, how he was a mechanic, which is really cool. Um, I talk about how he can help me with my car all the time because I don't know what I'm doing. It's like I bribe him with Starbucks to work on my car. I did it when I had a van, and I do it now, and I'll probably always do it.
Tell a PG version about my list of sayings.
Oh, wish I could pull it up. I have a notes and on my notes app. I have like 50 quotes of random ass shit that he'll say on a daily basis, and they are not appropriate. But they are. Can I say some of the funny ones though that aren't bad? Like some of the ones that aren't like absolutely horrible and should not be said in public. Um, okay. There's one that says, I am uncancelable. What are they going to stop me from doing? Getting a job? GPS doesn't need to know my location. No one needs to know where I am. Tastes like old books. Sliced cheese is not real cheese. It turns into something else. If it's supposed to be a joke, why do I feel like crying? Some of these are so bad. Um, wow. Okay. Yeah, I think those are the only ones that I could say. Because the rest of them are not YouTube appropriate. Well, I mean, there's Starbucks trips.
There you go.
Yeah. Me and my dad like to go to Starbucks a lot. Um, we try to go at least a couple days a week, but it depends on our budgets. So, sometimes we don't. But a couple times a week, we try to go to Starbucks, and we'll sit there for just like an hour, hour and a half, and we'll play game pigeon games together. And it's like a nice little routine. And it's early in the morning, and then we'll go on like a really cool drive, like past the beach. And it's always something that I look forward to in the mornings, because it's just me and my best buddy just hanging out. The highlight of my week. Yeah, I mean, throughout middle school, we did a lot more concerts, and I was in varsity band, and so like my part was pretty more exciting than just being like second chair or third chair. I was more important. So it was really happy. It was really good for me to have my dad be there because sometimes my mom couldn't make it because she was working. So it was really good to have my dad there supporting me as I played clarinet. And this was when my skills were really getting better. So it was pretty cool to show off and express my musical talents with my family. Yeah. well, my number one passion is art. Always has been, is always going to be. Um, and while my whole family has been really supportive of my artistic journey, my dad's done a really good job at encouraging me to do what I love and finding a really good way financially to do that, which is gonna be tattooing when I start doing that. Um, like there's been times where like he'll buy me like little bags of markers or like little artistic stuff that he'll find at like thrift stores or like occasionally get me something. Um, which has been really cool to add to my collection of basically hoarding of art supplies. Um, and like he's always been there for me when it comes to that part of my life. A lot of artists don't get to have a supportive family when it comes to their craft, and I'm lucky to have a family that really supports what I do, and especially my dad, that he does a really great job at supporting what I do and not diminishing art as a subject or as a career, instead uplifting me and having me find a profitable way to do what I love without being a starving artist. Don't want to end up like Van Gogh.
Tell the story of me picking you up from school after you fell off the swing.
Okay, yeah, I can do that. When I was like 10, I think, or 9, I was playing on the play set in elementary school, and they had like these two bars that you could like fuck around on, and I did a flip that I normally did, but I went off the wrong way and bonked my head. Um, vision went black for a second, and then they sent me to the nurse's office, and they're like, "Okay, we're gonna have your dad pick you up," and I was like, "Cool." Um, and then he picked me up and decided, okay, we're gonna go to the beach. And I was like, fuck yeah. Um, wandered down the beach, hung out. I think we found like a couple like weird surgical tools that were like hella rusty. And after that, we went to Pleasure Point Pizza. I got a big piece of the pineapple ham pizza, Hawaiian pizza, and I got a Diet Coke. I think it was a raspberry Diet Coke. And we hung out, and it was really cool. And ever since then, my brother's been really jealous that I got to go on there, and he never got to have one of those trips. So that was honestly probably one of my favorite days from elementary school that I remember. Yeah, that was fun.
So what's your favorite type of vacation that you've been on?
Ooh, yeah. Okay, I already have one in mind. Alien road trip. Go on the road trips down to Nevada, and we'd go like kind of past Las Vegas, but like our main goal is to go see like the Area 51 stuff. And we'd first stop at Baker because they have the alien beef jerky, so we'd stop there always. They have all the hot sauces, and like I get like usually like a trinket or something. Um, and then we'd go to the Area 51 gate, and we go. I think there's another alien jerky place we would stop, but we would just stop at all the landmarks that are like popular. People talking about like aliens being on Earth and being in Area 51. And there was one place, it's the Alien Research Center, and it was in this like army looking fucking tube thing, and we went there once, and there's like one or two other times where we went on this trip and it was closed, and I really fucking wanted to go there. I haven't been there in years. I really wanted to fucking go there. Oh, and the Little Alien, we would stop there too. Um, the food's kind of mood, but it's really cool there. They have a whole bunch of. I mean, it's the place from Paul. That movie's awesome.
Talk about when we went to the gate.
Oh yeah, we went to the gate. We were driving down the long dirt road to get to the Area 51 gate, and we were like, I don't know how far we were from the gate, but we were kind of far from the gate. And then there was already a white truck following us when we turned around. Um, but on the way there, we saw the big semi truck carrying nothing, and that was a little spooky. But like we got the truck following us even though we didn't even stop at the gate, and I think I have a video on my phone of it. But it was really cool. And then we saw this like antelope, I think that's what they're called, and like it looked really like robotic, and I think we made jokes about it being like a camera. um, but yeah, that was really cool. I honestly think we should go back.
Tell the story of me yelling at your boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, okay. um, Well, there was one night I had just had my boyfriend for I think 2 weeks at this point, and we all decided that we wanted to go to a Brooks and Dunn concert in Mountain View, I think. Um, and I invited my boyfriend because I wanted him to be introduced to my family and get to know everybody. And the concert part was great. There was nothing wrong with the concert part. But we get back in the car, and it's me, my boyfriend, my brother, and his girlfriend. And for some reason, my boyfriend decides to drive very fucking fast, very recklessly. Even though he knew what he was doing, it was still not a really good idea when you have a girlfriend of 2 weeks and like her brother, her younger brother, and his girlfriend, who had already been basically a part of the family for a good chunk of time at that point, to be driving like that when you just met them. Um, and it was he went fast like the first part, and then when we were driving back on 17, he decided to drive like a fucking idiot right by my dad. Not a good idea. And everyone in the car was telling him to stop and to slow down, and he thought that it was like a race of some kind, and it was really not. Um, and apparently, I had been texting my mom, and my brother and his girlfriend had been texting my mom from our car, telling him like basically trying to get him to stop. Um, and we hit Summit, and we basically were just like, okay, we're pulling off. Um, and my mom and dad come rushing out of the car, and I get told, okay, you're getting put in the Corolla, and I was like, okay, and I was nervous and stuff, and all I remember seeing is my dad telling Kelly to get out of the car, and then dad just screaming at my boyfriend for like 5 minutes about how you don't drive like that when there's important people in the car with you. How you don't put not only your life but your girlfriend's life and basically three of the most important people in my dad's life in danger. Um, especially well, in any case, but especially when you've just met them and you decide to drive like a fucking idiot. Um, but yeah, it was super protective. Just want to make sure that we were all safe, and my boyfriend definitely learned his lesson. Um, drives much more safely because of the the I don't know the more than scolding. What would you call it? I guess reprimanding. Um he learned his lesson, and he drives much more safely when I'm in the car with him. I put a limit on 85 miles per hour.
Talk a little bit about your uncles from the club and how protective they are of you and the type of things they say to you and your boyfriend.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Um, there's a couple guys who I would know as uncles of some type, but then I got my boyfriend, and he met him. He's like, you know, yep, I better see a smile on her face every time I see you two together. Um, gotta make sure you're taking care of her right. They would just every time he'd see us, he would always be like, hold her hand, treat her right, take her on dates, don't treat her like crap. Um, which my boyfriend does a great job of taking care of me. Just saying that. But he always checks in. Like even like way before I had a boyfriend, he would always check in and be like, make sure no guys are messing with you. Um, and some of the guys in the club would also say that too, and a lot of them would always be like, "Oh, you look beautiful. You look so much older, and you're growing up so fast." And I've been around those dudes since I was like 8 or 9. Like I've been basically a part of that community for like more than half of my life. So they got to see me grow up and become an adult, finally get my driver's license. Um, so it's just kind of crazy to see how much time has passed, and how they get to see me through different phases of my life. And getting a boyfriend was definitely a big one.
What are your plans for the future?
Plan to become a tattoo artist, have a boyfriend make a bunch of money so that I don't have to make as much. Yeah, partial dependency.
It's a good question. You want to come back for a part 2 someday?
Fuck it, why not?
Maybe we'll have once we get a Patreon later on down the road, we'll have just an unedited.
Yeah, like the worst, the worst. Like
to read the list for real.
Oh yeah. Really gotta make that into a book.
What would you say to a member of the general public that looks down upon motorcycle clubs and their members?
I would say that you haven't been around motorcycle clubs. You don't know how they truly are. You can't say that just from watching a couple shows that only talk down on those clubs. They're not motorcycle gangs, they're motorcycle clubs. And if anything, they're not really that fun. A lot of the events are a little boring. Um, but there's good people. Every club member that I've met has been a good person. They're nice, they're approachable. Sure, they're a little bit rough on the edges, but there's nothing wrong with that. Um, and I mean, there are a lot of the times they've been kid friendly. Like I've hung out with kids that are kids from motorcycle club members, and there's been no problems. They're not evil. They don't do drugs. Like they don't kill people. Like they're not messed up people. And they're not messed up clubs. They're just group of guys that like to ride motorcycles and they like to hang out together and drink beer. And I don't think that's a problem. There's nothing wrong with what they're doing. Um, I mean, yeah. And don't watch Gangland. They're wrong. It's propaganda to make you hate them. Because all the people I've met are genuinely good people. You know, they got a little bit of off opinions, but there's nothing about them that's like horrible. Like I haven't met a murderer. Nobody's murdered anybody. And they don't sell drugs. Really wish people would stop saying that because they don't.
Yeah, I wish I sold drugs. I'd have a lot more money.
Yeah, seriously. If anything, I wish they were cooler. I wish they did something more cool. All they do is complain. Don't be afraid of them. like, as long as like you're just a chill person. A lot of times they'll have conversations with you, especially if they have booths. If you see a club selling stuff from their club at an event, go up and talk to them. They're not rude people. They just want to share who they are. You know, they're part of a community. They want to, if anything, they want to show the public who they are. They don't want to be ashamed of who they are. And I would also recommend if you see anybody with a patch, don't just yell at them. Don't just treat them like shit. If anything, you'll just piss them off, and it's not a good idea to piss anybody off. Just be a nice person to people. That's what I would say.
Was there anything else you want to say?
Don't judge a book by its cover. I would say that because people judge. I think that's really fucked up.
I have another question. Do you want to talk in your eyes?
Absolutely not. You should keep that in.